Have you ever encountered a problem that seemed really difficult to solve? Maybe you sat and thought about the problem for a little while and weren't sure of what to do or what action to take. I'm Jeanette, and I want to share with you my hints and tips on how to resolve a problem. It's literally a strategy for how problems are to be resolved. And I'm sharing it from my little computer that's down here. So I'm looking at the computer, getting those notes and sharing this with you today. Okay. How to resolve a problem. Resolving a problem efficiently, okay, and effectively does require a structured approach. I sincerely believe that. I don't think one size fits all. Different problems need to be resolved in different ways. However, a structured approach is the best way to resolve a problem. Now, we are looking for two things. We're first of all looking for a resolution. So we want to resolve it. That may mean that it's not permanently solved, but hopefully eventually we will find a solution to the problem. So resolving is kind of putting in a band-aid to stop the bleed now. And then over time, we'll take the band-aid off, we'll allow the wound to heal, and then we have our solution. It's solved, okay? Let me start with the step-by-step guide. Number one, identify the problem. What's the real problem? What's really at the heart of it? Be clear about that, because sometimes we're not identifying the problem, we're looking at what the symptoms are. So we're looking at all the things that are happening around a problem and not really realizing what the catalyst for the problem is. Identify the catalyst. That's very, very important to do. Gather as much information as you can. Talk to people who are involved in the situation so that you can find where this is coming from. Try not to speak on behalf of other people unless you've been given the right to do that. And be sensible. You know, somebody may use you as a weapon against someone else by telling you that something that's happening is an irritation to them. And they may not speak up for themselves. And then you end up just being used to annoy someone else. And that can make the problem bigger. I am addressing a whole spectrum of problems today. So have a think about conversing with others, finding out what the problem is in order to bring forth a solution. Determine the root cause. What's the irritant? Okay. Now you can use tools like the 5 W's. So the where, when, who, why, what's happening. Use those questions and begin to look at when does this happen as you analyze the problem. That's a great way of doing your analysis. In addition, identify the underlying symptoms and the underlying cause. Okay. You know what the symptoms are. You know what happens. You're seeing that. What's the root cause of this? It's really important. And then break the problem down. You may not necessarily be able to deal with the problem en masse, a huge issue. For example, what if you need to move house? You can't do that overnight. You're going to have to strategically plan your way out of your present home. You're going to have to calculate when you're going to have enough funds to do this. When's a good time for you to do it? Who's involved in helping you? Is this something you initiate yourself? Do you need to speak to somebody about it? So problems can be quite complex. So we need to break them down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Okay. Now what we need to do, number 3, is to generate possible solutions. So we're looking at how we're going to solve the problem, but we're not looking at the specific solution yet. Think about the different ways that things could be resolved, and also think outside of the box, okay? It doesn't always have to be a traditional approach to solve a problem. Maybe you have that quirkiness about you, that originality. You may come up with a solution that nobody else has thought of yet. So have a think about that. And list all of your possible solutions at this stage. Write them down. Get yourself a journal. I have the notebook journal here, which I retail. This is £12.99. So contact me if you're interested. And in this journal, you would simply write your date and you write any notes that you want to on the dotted lines. So you would write down and say, right, this is what the problem is, here's how it's manifesting, and here are my resolutions. These are some of the solutions I think might help. Once you've done that, go through the potential solutions, evaluate them, and then decide what's the best solution to these problems. What's the best one? Which one is going to be the most advantageous? Which is going to bring you the greatest benefit? Once you've done that, and you've assessed it, you think about, do you need any support or help with bringing the solution? Is anybody needed to support you in that? So you need to have a conversation with them. You need to share with them. If other people are involved, you may want to share your expectations of them. You may want to share with them, well, this is what your role is in resolving. A little while ago, I was very overwhelmed. I had so much to do, too much to do, in fact, and I was finding myself under a lot of pressure. And so what I did was I spoke to the people that I live with, my young people, and I said, I need you to take some responsibility for a few things in the house. I don't ask you to do very much, but at the moment, I need you to take on a little bit more of the domestic side of things, because that's where I'm struggling. And so I asked them if they would do food preparation, which they have done magnificently. And they've learnt new recipes. They've had the joy of the pride, of preparing meals that they are eating, that other people are eating, that are enjoyable. It's been a really wonderful, wonderful time. And I want to continue that to some degree. My time, I have a little more of it now, but I'm going to hold on to some of what we've done so that I'm not preparing meals every day. They can do some of that because they enjoy it and it's beneficial to them. So sometimes with problems come solutions that you recognize actually improve life overall in general for everybody. So consider the short-term and long-term consequences of your plan and then implement the plan. Bring it in now. Now's time for action. Try not to hesitate too much before you bring the plan of action in, because you know what they say, a stitch in time saves nine. And in my 21 Days of Confessions, my little book, a stitch in time saves nine. So I will resolve my small problems before they grow big. That's really important. And in the reading, it says we all encounter things we would prefer not to do. That reluctance has to be balanced against a small job becoming a bigger one. So sometimes if you leave something little, it'll grow out of hand. It could become something bigger and more difficult to address. Do consider that. So communicate the plan, implement the solution. And once you've done that, monitor the implementation to make sure that it's meeting your standards and that it is on track. In the case of the young people, just check, do you have everything you need? This is what I was doing. Do you have everything you need to prepare these meals? Do you have all the resources you need? Do you know where all the ingredients are? Are you okay with weighing, measuring? Are you all right with that? Are you comfortable? And then I'd say, right, I'm in the next room if you need me. And I'd be off doing whatever I needed to do. And then they could come to me if they wanted to. And sometimes they did this. Could you taste this? And does this look cooked to you? Be there to support the implementation of the plan. And number 6, evaluate the results. Sit back and just monitor the progress and evaluate, get some feedback and identify the positives that have come out. Has the problem now been solved? That's so important. And if it requires a little bit of tweaking, then tweak. That's the point at which you may make a few little adjustments because they might be necessary. Okay. And you may make some necessary changes. Number 8, document the process. Encourage yourself by potentially using a journal to write and document the process that you've been through to get to where you are, because that'll encourage you to know that you can resolve problems. It'll encourage you to say, well, yeah, I'm not bad at this. I brought resolution. This is how I did it. It wasn't straightforward. It didn't all go the way I wanted it to initially, but it worked out well in the end. So do consider that. Record any lessons, any insights that you gained whilst you were doing it, because these are all ways in which you develop and grow. Reflect on what you've written and learn. Learn more about yourself, learn more about life, more about people, more about the world you live in, more about problem solving. And lastly, celebrate your success, okay? You have successfully resolved a problem that was causing you discomfort, and maybe it was causing other people issues as well. Celebrate your success. And finally, I want to say that effective problem solving does require a systematic approach. So remember to use the system I have shared. Identify the problem. Okay, consider various elements of the problem, look for your solutions, brainstorm them, identify and choose your final solution. Once you've done that, bring in the implementation, make sure that it's implemented, the solution's implemented in the way that you would like. And once you've done that, then sit back, have a look at what you've learned from it, what you've gained from it, evaluate it. Do you need to make any tweaks? And celebrate. Okay, and continue to grow, continue to develop. I am Janette McLean. It's been lovely connecting with you today. Bye for now.